Hello and welcome to this edition of BizWatch. I'm Qing Yi. American entrepreneurs in Shanghai say they're optimistic about expanding their businesses in China. They say they were encouraged by the recent China visit of U.S. President George W. Bush. China, meanwhile, says the U.S. leader's visit was an important one, conducted in a friendly atmosphere and pragmatic and constructive. One key topic of the high-level talks was to promote more balanced trade. Li Zhuangmiao finds the two governments hope to make joint efforts.
Jeffrey Bernstein has been doing business in China for 10 years. The American Chamber of Commerce, where he serves as chairman, recently conducted a business climate survey among its 1,400 corporate and 3,000 individual members before Bush's visit.
Over 90% were optimistic or cautiously optimistic. The U.S. economy is not only made up of Fortune 500 companies, but literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of small business. They're really the engine of our economy. And to the extent that these smaller businesses can find opportunity in China, that will help the trade balance. It will also provide a better perspective back in the U.S. on the positive side of our relationship.
China is now the U.S. second largest trading partner and exporter. While agreeing to further expand bilateral trade and economic cooperation, the two governments expressed a readiness to gradually realize trade balance through joint efforts. China's trade surplus to the U.S. amounted to $162 billion last year and is expected to reach $200 billion this year.
China took a $4 billion slice of that surplus during the Bush visit, announcing the biggest aircraft purchase in the country's history, 17 American Boeing 737s. It was little surprise to economists who see the trade imbalance easing naturally as China starts to spend.
According to the comparative advantage, we know that China is just good at labor-intensive goods, but the U.S. maybe have comparative advantage on the capital-intensive, products. We notice that China's have so big amount of the trade supplies with U.S. It's just because of U.S. side to embargo on the high-tech export to China, include embargoes on the arms. Now this time China's buy the Boeing aircraft from U.S. side. If futures U.S. side can sell small high-tech products to China, I think the trade balance will be more easiest to get rid of.
With their eyes on a bilateral trade imbalance, the two governments also furthered efforts to reduce trade friction.
We noticed that both sides emphasize that China and U.S. is trade partner. It's partner. It's not competitors. It's not just like the enemy. The second that the both parts emphasize that use the way of dialogue to deal with the trade friction. We noticed that the textile issues has already solved through the several rounds of talking.
U.S. investment in China is a net benefit to the U.S. economy. Again, in that same survey of our members, we found that over 85% of the members, the reason why they invested in China is to develop new markets outside of the U.S., whether it's China, throughout Asia, or other non-U.S. markets around the world. And so the China investment does not detract from their U.S. operation, it actually complements.
Mr. Bernstein added their survey also shows a third of U.S. multinationals' growth come from China. Insiders from both sides say Bush's visit to China will have a signal effect to the Americans that the two countries share a lot more in common than they have differences. Although its direct impact on bilateral trade may be little, the positive effects will show up later through grassroots economic links among companies. Li Zhuangmiao for BizWatch.